Recorded in Little Italy, Louisiana. Welcome to Pinstripe Alley, the official podcast with A.P. Fanene. Ladies and gentlemen, made men and wise guys alike, welcome to the Pinstripe Alley podcast with me, A.P. Fanene, and let me say, it has been quite some time. Thank you so much for joining me today. I would say what day it is, but I'm not quite sure when this is going to drop. So when it drops, I hope you have a great day as soon as you hear it. How about that? I know it sucks. What do you want from me, all right? It has been a long time since I have done this, any kind of podcast, get the fuck out of here. Any kind of podcast, it's been a long time, and I apologize for that. Forgive me. I have been working on another project outside of this, a musical project, and those of you who know me personally know I devote a lot of my time to those types of things, so I appreciate everyone who is still listening, still stuck by. I'm working on the third book right now. Since you guys have waited, I've received a lot of messages about the third book. Some of them, I wouldn't say they were angry, but they're definitely asking, what the fuck? So I understand, and I want to let you know, I'm working on that book right now. It is called, I'm going to tell you, it's called The Gatekeeper's Entry Zero. Okay, and it's going to be called In the Years of Our Boss. That's the name of the book. So I feel like a lot of people, my apologies, but I feel like a lot of people out there who have been asking about it, you're going to get what you're asking for. This book is going to be, I've had time to grow as an author. I've had time to, can be inspired even more than I was before. So I feel like this third book, I'm not going to tell you the premise of it or anything about it, but just judging by the title itself, you kind of get the premise of what it's going to be. But it's going to be phenomenal. I can tell you that. I can tell you it's going to kick ass. And I can tell you that you're going to know a lot of things about the 7 men that this series is all about. You're going to have a lot of... And so for those of you who keep up with the book, thank you so much. It's on the way. Moving right along. Jesus. Like I said, been a long time. I apologize. I am not going to do this again. I'm going to try to come at you guys every Friday is what I'm not going to try to. I'm going to give you guys a podcast or a mobcast every Friday. I've added some new additions here, new additions there. We're going to do something different every single time, but it's going to be in the same premise because who likes the same shit over and over? You know what I'm saying? Once again, thank you guys for sticking with me this long. And here we go. What we're going to do, first off, one of the changes I've made to my show is that instead of me, kind of giving you a rundown about a topic from a long time ago and just keep running with it that has to do with the mafia, I'm going to give you guys, starting off, five common mafia facts that happened on these days of the week, that every time I do this. So every time that I do a Mafia Facts, it's going to be 5 for every mobcast. Here are the first 5. It is the entire week of this week that the podcast, next time I'm going to have a fucking date, sorry. But this is the 5 common Mafia Facts of the week. I like to call this the Classic Mafia Work Week. Number 1. Here we go. We're going to jump right into things. The 1950s... Fuck me. Here we go. Let's try this again. The 1957 Palermo Mafia Summit took place at the Grand Hotel at De Palmas in Palermo City, Sicily. The summit was held from October 12th to the 16th of October 1957. The summit was initiated by both Sicilian and American mafia bosses and their constituents to converse and negotiate business regarding the heroin market. As many mob heads know, heroin sales and most drug distribution for that matter was frowned upon by members of the mafia. Some families considered death as the appropriate response upon discovery of the act. However, both sides agreed to break said tradition and decide to take part in the French Connection. This was the operation created in the 1937-ish time that allowed heroin to be smuggled from Indochina through Turkey to France and then to United States and Canada. The FBI believed it was this meeting that established the Bonanno crime family in the heroin trade. The Bonanno crime family, breaking laws in the mafia.
Number 2.
October 17th, 1931, mafia icon and pioneer Al Capone is ironically convicted of tax evasion and sentenced to 11 years in federal prison. He was also fined a sum of $50,000, which in today's time is about 3 months of unleaded gas. Capone's crimes involving illegal alcohol distribution earned him a spot on the FBI's most wanted list by 1930. He remained a free man throughout his career, exactly how you would imagine. Many people involved in Capone's cases were harassed, violently beaten, and some ended up just disappearing. Some say Capone merely paid them to relocate. I myself am in doubt. One of Capone's most infamous incidents included the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, in which Capone's soldiers, claiming to be law enforcement, lined 7 men up of an opposing gang against a wall and murdered all of them via gunshot. Also, Al Capone died of syphilis.
Number 3.
Again with the Gambino family, man. They were all over the place, but what do you expect? On October 18th, 1976, the quote, boss of all bosses departs from this world with a massive funeral filled with sympathetic sociopaths. Don Carlo Gambino, well known among members of the American Mafia and thereon, was buried in the St. John Cemetery in New York, New York, where his graves are joined by Mafia members Joseph Profaci, Joe Colombo, Vito Genovese, Carmine Galante, Salvatore Maranzano, Agnello Della Croce, and Salvatore Lucania, aka Charles Lucky Luciano. Gambino succeeded the late family boss Albert Anastasia after his brutal assassination took place years earlier. Though small in stature, he was known for his immense savagery as a mob leader, and on his deathbed assigned Big Paul Castellano as his successor to the boss chair, much to John Gotti's dismay. And for more on that, make sure to check out my channel, because I do an entire video on John Gotti and exactly how he became the boss.
Number 4.
October 19th, 2023. Look at that, I even do modern day crap. I live in the future. The movie Leo, directed by Lokesh Kanagraj, making his directorial debut with the movie Mammogram in 2017, so make sure you and mom check that one out, is a gangster-style action thriller. Vijay, a Madras-born actor, plays the lead role of Leo Dos. The film follows the life of a school professor who must confront his previous life as a cold and apathetic gangster, which tells me that this movie is clearly the parody of an everyday life of an American congressman.
Number 5.
And last but not least, on a Friday, John Dingbat Oberta and Joseph Polak Joe Saltis call a peace conference in an attempt to broker a ceasefire among Chicago's major bootleggers. With establishment of Madison Street dividing the Chicago outfit and the North Side gang territories, the two sides come to an agreement to peace. Saltis and Oberta were both American Prohibition mobsters involved in illegal bootlegging of alcohol, and God knows what else, in the Back of the Yards neighborhood in Chicago, Illinois. Both men successfully operated out of this territory until it was later seized by Al Capone. Al Capone later died of syphilis. And those are the facts. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the new addition to the Mobcast. That is the classic Mafia work week. What's that? Ran out of echo effects? Get the fuck out of here. Enough of that crap. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and now we're moving on to the meat and potatoes of the Mobcast. This is Mafia News. All right, let's jump right into it. I want to say, first of all, we all remember that the Mafia was an organization that commanded quite a bit of respect and a code of honor. Today's stories will prove us otherwise. Let's go. On July 6th of this year, Mexican Mafia member Michael Torres, who was serving his 133-year fucking sentence, was attacked and killed via stabbing. The suspects there under investigation were Ray and Juan Martinez. Both suspects have been moved to restricted housing. No shit. Pending investigation into this case. Officials have limited population movement on the yard to facilitate the investigation. The Office of the Inspector General was notified, and the Sacramento County Coroner will determine Torres' official cause of death. I mean, I think we're all pretty locked in agreement on how Torres died here. 133 years to life. is the sentence, the draconian sentence they gave this man, 133 years to life with the possibility of parole. And this is his list of things that he's done: attempted second-degree murder, possession of a firearm by an ex-felon, criminal threat to cause great bodily harm or death, and attempting to prevent or dissuade a victim or witness. All done as a third striker. Yeah, not the greatest decision maker in the world. And I guess what I'm looking at here is this let's see here. These gentlemen, this is the note that I was looking for. The guy actually got a 133-year sentence. That's the first thing I want to ask. I don't know what the fucking point of that is. I guess it's to set precedence as just how horrible it is, so they have to go by a certain number. But, I mean, just give the guy life. You know, I mean, I get it that he has parole, but I'm reading this list of things that this man has done, and I'm pretty sure parole is probably not an option. The two men that are in question are brothers, according to internet sources, and they say that Ray and Juan Martinez are in an adjacent gang, or, you know, I'm not 100% like I personally and anyone else who's not in the case would never know exactly why they killed this man unless they just come forward and say it. But it just goes to show that, like, bad decision making is just a snowball effect all the way around. So, I mean, not to laugh at this man's death because I don't know him, but I mean, yeah, moving right along. The Gambino and Lucchese crime families are still at it, and they're here to let us know that La Cosa Nostra, aka the American Mafia, didn't go anywhere, and they will quit when they're damn good and ready. On May 20th, 2023, a crew consisting of alleged mob members from both the Lucchese and Gambino family walked into Baco Jewels on Madison Avenue and another unnamed store as well, and robbed them both for $2 million worth of jewelry. Most of the news articles also made it to point to make sure that we know that Rihanna and Beyonce shop there. So make sure you put that on your to-do list just in case mom needs a stocking stuffer that costs a second fucking mortgage. Here's the thing, though. All four men entered the elite establishment in construction work attire. That's right. All four of these men walked into the jewelry store dressed as construction workers and continued the prejudice against construction workers by framing them for this crime. All four donned yellow and orange reflective long-sleeve attire and hats with masked faces. Among the accused is Lucchese crime family associate Frank Skip DiPietro, who is 65 years old, who previously served a 19-year federal sentence for the mob killing of a witness. So he's already been through some really, really rough times. And the other men arrested were named as Vincent, let me make sure I'm saying this right, Sergio, 69 years old, Vincent Spagnuolo, 65 years old, and Michael Selick, 67, in connection with the Baco Jewels heist. It's good to see four friends who shared time in the sandbox come back together all these years later just to really tear the fucking house down. All four men were taken into custody and were immediately bathed in it. I'm sorry. You know what? Fuck that. We're gonna do 5 jokes that I wrote specifically for this. I wasn't sure if I wasn't gonna do this or not, but here we go. These are the 5 jokes that I wrote for this situation. Here we go. At some point during the disguise, one of the men yelled aloud, "I gotta get these colors in a jogging suit." I don't think even the family lawyers from the office of Gaba and Ghoul can get them paroled.
Number 3.
All 4 men were taken into custody and immediately questioned before being bathed in Bengay for severe aches and pains.
Number 4.
One of the suspects specifically asked the jewelry store worker to please lower the thermostat to 91.
Number 5.
And the number 1 joke that I made for this was, all of them were Catholic. Play me out, Paul. October 3rd, 2023. The son of the late Carlo Gambino, previously the infamous mob boss of the Gambino family, Thomas Gambino, that's the son, aka the Mafia Prince, passed away at 94 years old, surviving one of the most vicious criminal periods in American history, during which he earned over $75 million. According to sources, all of these assets were in cash, bonds, and blue chip stock. And keep in mind, blue chip stocks are stocks with very high-end financially sound investors. Investopedia declares that blue chip companies usually have market capitalizations backed in the billions. So we learned at some point that banks were working with the mafia? My first guess is JP Morgan. One of the stories surrounding Gambino's death is that he was actually faced with indictments due to the world-famous testimony of known mafia underboss turned FBI informant Sammy the Bull Gravano. Wow. Just checking in on Sammy the Bull Gravano lately, he's been faced with indictments for selling ecstasy. Well, going across the water to Naples in the mafia motherland of Italy, singer Antonio Tony Colombo and his wife were arrested during a heavy crackdown because one of their businesses was actually named after the Sicilian mob. While this isn't a crime at all, they were suspected of working with a clan led by jailed mobster Marco Di Lora, according to local police. They were investing in clothing lines like Corleone, named after the Sicilian town used as a family name in The Godfather, also working on a scheme to market an energy drink called 9mm. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not subtlety at all. It doesn't also help the fact that his wife Tina is actually the widow of assassinated Camorra family boss Gaetano Marino, who was her previous husband she is the widow of, who was actually gunned down on the beach in Italy in 2012. All I can say is I wish that couple the best. Big Paul Castellano's mansion is officially up for sale. The house in the borough's Todd Hill neighborhood hit the market earlier this month for $16.8 million. The home at 177 Benedict Road, also known as the White House, includes some bloody history thanks to its former owner, Gambino boss Paul Castellano. Castellano ran the crime family for years before he was murdered in December of 1985 in front of his favorite steakhouse, Sparks Steakhouse in Manhattan, paving the way for Teflon Don, John Gotti. And that, my friends, is Mafia News. I hope you enjoyed the new format. If you do, leave a comment if you see this on YouTube, or hopefully by this time it'll be on Spotify. But whatever the case, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you back next week for Pinstripe Alley's Mafia News.